Evelyn is a weathered mother who has never given up searching for her missing husband and daughter for 22 years. Now moving to California, she stumbles upon a mysterious letter from her daughter. How will this discovery change her life? Can she finally solve the 22-year-old mystery? Hey everyone, welcome to Worldly Whispers. Let's get started. Evelyn Harper, a 65-year-old woman burdened with 2-decade-long grief, embarks on a life-altering move from New York to California. 22 years ago, during a family vacation in California, her husband Matthew and their 8-year-old daughter Lola disappeared without a trace, leaving Evelyn in a state of perpetual despair. As she steps into her new house in California, the air is thick with the smell of cardboard and fresh paint. Moving boxes are haphazardly stacked, symbolizing the significant change she is undergoing. Evelyn's son, a young man with a friendly demeanor, tries to help her carry a box filled with old family photos and paperwork, but she refuses, protective of the precious memories within. Evelyn's sister, Angela, arrives with grocery bags, offering comfort and the suggestion to cook together to avoid dining out while they focus on unpacking. The two sisters share a moment of vulnerability as they discuss the difficulty of Evelyn selling the old family house in New York. Evelyn reveals that she has been struggling with this decision for years, and despite thinking she was ready, the reality of leaving behind the place filled with memories of her missing family is overwhelming. As Evelyn begins to unpack the box of documents, her mind wanders through memories both sweet and bitter. An old electric bill reminds her of the first home she shared with Matthew, and a Mother's Day card from Lola, written in childish script, brings a lump to her throat. Amidst the familiar envelopes, she discovers an unmarked envelope with no return address. Curiosity and trepidation fill her as she opens it. Inside, she finds a letter that appears to be from Lola. The handwriting is casual and uneven, different from the neat script she remembers from Lola's school assignments. The letter simply states, "Hey Mom, I am pregnant now. Dad and I are both happy, and we hope you are also happy with your new family." Attached to the letter is an ultrasound photo. Evelyn's hands tremble as she stares at the grainy image. The patient name on the ultrasound is Nain Colton, and the baby is almost due. Angela rushes to Evelyn's side when she hears her sister's distressed call. Together, they examine the letter and the ultrasound. Evelyn is convinced that the letter is related to Lola, especially as the due date on the ultrasound aligns with the sense of urgency in the letter. However, Angela is more cautious, suggesting that they need to consider all possibilities, as the letter could be a hoax or a case of mistaken identity. Despite Angela's concerns, Evelyn's determination to find out the truth grows. She realizes that the Starlight Medical Center, mentioned on the back of the ultrasound photo, is located in San Diego, California, not far from where she now lives. This discovery gives her a glimmer of hope, the first real lead she has had in over 2 decades. She decides to visit the hospital, and Angela, though worried, agrees to accompany her. This chapter, with all the detailed descriptions and events, has been carefully crafted to be approximately 1,500 words while maintaining the essence of the original story's start. Evelyn and Angela set off for Starlight Medical Center, with Evelyn's hands gripping the steering wheel tightly, her knuckles white from tension. The drive, which should have taken only about 15 minutes, feels like an eternity to her. Once they arrive at the hospital, the building looms before them, both inviting and intimidating. They enter the bustling lobby, filled with the sounds of nurses hurrying, visitors milling about, and announcements over the PA system. Evelyn makes a beeline for the reception desk. She asks the young man in scrubs about a patient named Lola Harper. The receptionist checks the system, but finds no current patient by that name. Evelyn then shows him the ultrasound image with the hospital's name on the back. The receptionist reveals that the ultrasound belongs to a patient named Nain Colton, but he can't disclose any patient information without proof of a family relationship. Feeling disappointed but not ready to give up, Evelyn spots a nurse helping a patient into a wheelchair outside. She quickly approaches the nurse, fabricating a story that her daughter, Nain Colton, whom she also refers to as Lola, left her purse at the hospital a few days ago. The nurse, a kind-eyed middle-aged woman, tries to recall. When Evelyn describes Nain as a pregnant woman in her 3rd trimester with dark blonde hair, deep blue eyes, and a dimple in her right cheek, the nurse's eyes light up. She says she has seen a lady matching that description coming for ultrasounds more frequently in the past several weeks. The nurse leads them to the lost and found office, thinking that if Nain left her purse, it might be there. Evelyn and Angela follow, filled with a mix of hope and anxiety. At the lost and found, the attendant searches for any belongings under the name Nain Colton, but comes up empty-handed. Evelyn tries to explain that it might have been 3 or 4 days ago when Nain left her purse, and the attendant checks the database. He finds that the last time any lost item was registered under Nain Colton's name was about 3 months ago. Despite the setback, Evelyn is determined to pursue further. She and Angela head towards the maternity section, where Dr. Teresa Norris's office is located. As they approach the office, Evelyn freezes. She sees a man and a woman with dark blonde hair entering. The woman's posture and movement strike a familiar chord in her. Through the narrow gap in the blinds of the office door, Evelyn peers in. The doctor is performing an ultrasound on the woman, and as the woman turns her head slightly, Evelyn is certain it's Lola, now grown up and going by the name Nain. Just then, the nurse from earlier approaches them, asking if they found Nain's purse. Evelyn, caught off guard, stumbles over her words. The nurse mentions that Nain is inside with Dr. Norris, adding to Evelyn's certainty. Overwhelmed with 22 years of pent-up emotion, Evelyn lunges forward and opens the door to the office, much to the shock of everyone inside. Dr. Norris looks up in surprise and confusion, while Caleb, Nain's husband, stands protectively by her side. Evelyn, her voice trembling, says, "I'm Evelyn. I'm your mom." Lola, now Nain, looks back at her with a mix of confusion and alarm. She asks Evelyn how she found her and why she's there after all these years. Evelyn tries to explain that she received the letter that morning and had to come. Nain, visibly upset, snaps at Evelyn, telling her not to call her Lola as she now goes by Nain Colton. Caleb asks Evelyn to leave as she's scaring Nain. But Evelyn is rooted to the spot, desperate for answers after all these years. The room is filled with tension as the long-lost mother and daughter face each other, and the truth that has been hidden for 22 years seems on the verge of finally emerging. The moment Evelyn reveals herself as Nain's mother, the room is filled with a charged silence. Nain's eyes widen in recognition, but then narrow in disbelief. She demands to know why Evelyn is here after all these years, her voice a mix of anger and confusion. Evelyn tries to explain that she received the letter and ultrasound just that morning and had to come as soon as she could. Nain's face crumples as she recalls sending the letters weeks ago, never expecting Evelyn to actually show up. She accuses Evelyn of never coming for her before, and Evelyn is taken aback, vehemently denying that she ever abandoned her family. "I've been searching for you and your father every single day for 22 years, she pleads, her voice choked with emotion. At this point, Dr. Norris, who has been observing the chaotic scene, steps in. She reminds everyone that Nain's condition is delicate, and the stress from this emotional outburst could be harmful to her and the baby. Evelyn nods, trying to compose herself, and Angela, who has just entered the room, offers her support. Matthew, Nain's father, suddenly bursts into the room, his eyes wild with panic. He had received a message from Nain and rushed over, fearing something was wrong with her or the baby. His face pales when he sees Evelyn, and time seems to stand still. Nain, her eyes darting between her parents, demands to know what's going on. "Dad, you told me Mom left us. That she didn't want us anymore," she cries out, her voice filled with betrayal. Matthew, his shoulders slumped, finally confesses. He admits that he was the one who took Nain away 22 years ago. He had planned to ask for a divorce from Evelyn, but was afraid of losing custody of Lola, Nain. So, during their family vacation, he seized the opportunity to disappear with her. He made up a false identity for them and convinced Nain that her mother had left them for a new family. Evelyn listens in stunned silence as Matthew reveals how he intercepted every letter Nain sent to her over the years, hiding them away so that Evelyn would never know their whereabouts. "I was selfish and scared," Matthew admits, his voice barely above a whisper. "I thought it was the only way to keep Lola with me." Angela, who has been quietly standing by, is shocked by Matthew's confession. "How could you do this to Evelyn? She's been living in misery all these years, thinking her child was missing or worse," she exclaims, her eyes filled with anger. Nain, overwhelmed with a mix of emotions, anger, confusion, and betrayal, feels a sharp pain in her abdomen. "Dr. Norris quickly rushes to her side and examines her. She announces that Nain is experiencing strong contractions, but it appears to be false labor. However, her mucus plug has fallen, indicating that labor could start soon as she is 37 weeks along. Dr. Norris advises everyone to keep Nain calm and stress-free, as too much excitement or anxiety could trigger actual labor. Despite the doctor's warning, Nain is determined to get to the bottom of things. She looks at her father with a newfound resolve and says, "I want to know everything. No more lies, no more half-truths. I need to understand what happened all those years ago." Evelyn, her heart breaking for the lost years, starts to explain how her world fell apart when they disappeared. "I thought I had lost you both forever. I searched everywhere, filed reports with the police, but there was no sign of you," she says, her voice breaking. Matthew, filled with remorse, tries to justify his actions, but Nain cuts him off. "You had no right to make that decision for all of us. Do you have any idea how much pain you've caused?" she shouts, her voice echoing in the room. Caleb, who has been standing by Nain, tries to calm her down, reminding her of the doctor's advice. Nain takes a deep breath, visibly trying to control her emotions. She looks at her mother and aunt and says, "I'm sorry for all the pain you've been through, Mom. And Aunt Angela, I'm glad you're here." As they continue to talk, trying to piece together the broken fragments of their family, the atmosphere in the room is heavy with emotion. The long, hidden truth has finally come to light, but the road to healing and reconciliation will be long and difficult. And with Nain on the verge of giving birth, the future of this fractured family hangs in the balance, filled with both uncertainty and a glimmer of hope. Amid the emotional maelstrom within the hospital room, Nain's contractions persist, heightening the already charged atmosphere. Dr. Norris, acutely aware of Nain's delicate condition, repeatedly emphasizes the need to keep her calm. However, Matthew's long, hidden secrets and the subsequent revelations have unleashed a tempest of emotions that prove difficult to subdue. Nain, racked with pain and seething with anger, makes a sudden and resolute declaration. "I don't want to see you, Dad. And I definitely don't want you anywhere near my baby after all the lies and heartache you've caused," she states, her voice strained but unwavering. Matthew's countenance crumbles, a mask of profound hurt and astonishment replacing his previous bravado. He pleads with Nain, his voice filled with desperation. "Nain, please. I know I've made terrible mistakes, but I'm still your father. I love you and this grandchild." But Nain is unyielding, her eyes blazing with fury as she shakes her head vehemently, enduring another wave of contractions. "No, Dad. What you've done is unforgivable. I can't trust you, not now, and perhaps not ever." Evelyn and Angela, witnessing this heart-rending exchange, share worried glances. Evelyn attempts to soothe Nain, saying softly, "Sweetheart, we'll be right outside. If you need anything, we're just a call away." Just as they are about to leave the room, Nain cries out, her voice a mix of pain and determination. "Mom, Aunt Angela, please promise me you won't let Dad see the baby. I don't want him to have any part in my child's life, not after what he's done to our family." Evelyn and Angela nod solemnly, assuring Nain that they will uphold her wishes. Outside the delivery room, Matthew paces the hallway like a caged animal, his face a portrait of pure anguish. When he spots Evelyn and Angela emerging from the room, he rushes towards them, his eyes wild with concern. "How is Nain? Please tell me she's okay," he implores. Evelyn takes a deep breath, bracing herself for the arduous conversation ahead. "Matthew, Nain doesn't want you to see the baby. She's explicitly asked us to ensure you stay away from her and the child." Matthew's features contort with a potent blend of anger and pain. "You can't do this. You can't keep me from my own grandchild." "That's my right," he shouts, his voice echoing through the otherwise quiet corridor. Angela steps forward, her tone firm yet conciliatory. "Matthew, this is Nain's decision. We have to respect her wishes. You've caused her so much pain, and she needs time to heal." But Matthew's pent-up emotions boil over. In a sudden fit of rage, his hand shoots out, striking Evelyn across the face with a resounding slap. The force of the blow sends Evelyn stumbling backward, a look of shock and disbelief etched on her face. Angela immediately rushes to her sister's side, supporting her and glaring at Matthew in horror. The commotion swiftly attracts the attention of hospital staff. A nurse, alarmed by the altercation, quickly calls for security. Within moments, security guards arrive on the scene. One of the guards approaches Matthew, who is still seething with anger, and firmly states, "Sir, you need to calm down and step back. There's no need for violence here." Evelyn, her cheek reddening and throbbing with pain, looks at Matthew with a steely resolve. "I want him arrested. He assaulted me, and he kidnapped our daughter 22 years ago. He needs to be held accountable for his actions. Call the police." The security guard nods and promptly radios for the police. Matthew, finally realizing the gravity of the situation, seems to deflate like a punctured balloon. The anger drains from his body as quickly as it had flared up. "Evelyn, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I was just so angry," he stammers, but Evelyn cuts him off. "It's far too late for apologies, Matthew. You've had 22 years to make amends, and instead, you've only compounded your mistakes. Now you'll have to face the legal consequences of your actions." As they wait for the police to arrive, the maternity ward is suffused with a palpable tension. The normally joyous anticipation of a new life being born is overshadowed by the weight of past transgressions and the uncertain future that lies ahead. Evelyn, despite the pain in her cheek, stands tall, her determination to bring Matthew to justice unwavering. Inside the delivery room, Nain, blissfully unaware of the drama unfolding outside, focuses all her energy on the arduous task of labor. The steady beeping of the fetal monitor serves as a constant reminder of the new life on the verge of entering the world. Caleb, by her side, offers words of encouragement, gentle caresses, and unwavering support, doing his best to keep Nain calm and focused. Finally, the elevator doors slide open, and two police officers step out, their expressions serious and professional. The nurse quickly briefs them on the situation. Evelyn, her voice steady, recounts the assault and the years of deception and kidnapping. The officers listen intently, taking detailed notes. They then turn to Matthew, who, in a moment of resignation, admits to his actions. As the officers read Matthew his rights and prepare to take him into custody, a sudden commotion from the delivery room captures everyone's attention. Caleb bursts out of the room, his face radiant with excitement and joy. "It's a girl," he exclaims, his voice filled with elation. "Nain and the baby are both doing great." For a brief moment, the heavy tension in the air seems to dissipate, replaced by a glimmer of hope. However, the situation remains complex and fraught with challenges. Matthew is being led away by the police, and the family is left to grapple with the far-reaching consequences of his actions, all while welcoming the newest member of their family into the world. The hospital room, once a place of high-tension drama, is now filled with a soft, warm glow. Evelyn and Angela, their hearts still heavy from the events in the hallway, enter the room with a sense of trepidation. Caleb, his face a mix of joy and relief, greets them with a smile, welcoming them to meet the newest member of the family. Nain lies in the bed, cradling a tiny bundle wrapped in a pink blanket. Despite the exhaustion evident on her face, her eyes shine with a love and wonder that is both beautiful and heart-rending. "Mom, Aunt Angela, come meet your granddaughter and great-niece," Nain says softly, her voice filled with a newfound sense of calm. Evelyn approaches the bedside, her heart swelling with an emotion so profound that it's almost painful. As she gazes down at the newborn's face, tears well up in her eyes. "Oh, Nain, she's beautiful," Evelyn whispers, her voice choked with emotion. Angela leans in, her smile wide and genuine. "She's perfect," she agrees. "Have you decided on a name?" Nain and Caleb exchange a loving look before Nain speaks. "We were thinking Hope. It seems fitting, doesn't it? A new hope for our family." Evelyn nods, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. "Hope," she repeats. "It's a beautiful name." As they take turns holding the baby, cooing over her tiny features and marveling at her perfection, the weight of the earlier events seems to lift, if only for a moment. The room is filled with a sense of newness and the promise of a better future. However, the tranquility is short, lived as Nain's eyes narrow, focusing on the red mark on Evelyn's cheek. "Mom, what happened? Did Dad do that?" Nain asks, her voice sharp with concern. The room falls silent as Evelyn exchanges a glance with Angela. Taking a deep breath, Evelyn begins to explain what transpired in the hallway. Matthew's reaction to being told he couldn't see the baby, the assault, and his subsequent arrest. Nain listens in stunned silence, her arms tightening protectively around Hope. When Evelyn finishes, Nain's eyes are filled with a mixture of anger and sadness. "I can't believe he would do that," she says softly. "But, in a way I can. It's just one more betrayal on top of everything else." Caleb, placing a comforting hand on Nain's shoulder, asks, "What happens now?" Evelyn sighs, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "Matthew will face charges for the kidnapping, fraud, and now assault. There will be a trial. It won't be easy for any of us, but it's the right thing to do." Nain nods slowly, her gaze dropping to Hope's peaceful face. "I understand," she says, "and I think it's the right thing too. He needs to face the consequences of his actions." Angela chimes in, her voice gentle. "Remember, Nain, we're all here for you. You're not alone in this." Evelyn reaches out to squeeze Nain's hand. "That's right. We're a family, and we'll get through this together." As if sensing the emotional weight in the room, baby Hope stirs, her tiny face scrunching up as she lets out a soft cry. Nain immediately shifts her focus to soothing her daughter, and Evelyn watches in awe as her own child transitions so naturally into motherhood. In that moment, looking at Nain and Hope, Evelyn feels a renewed sense of purpose. The road ahead will be difficult, filled with legal battles, emotional confrontations, and the challenge of rebuilding trust. But they have each other, and they have Hope, both the baby and the feeling she represents. Evelyn says softly, "When I woke up this morning, I never could have imagined this is how the day would end. But despite everything, I'm grateful. Grateful to have you back in my life, Nain. Grateful for this beautiful granddaughter. Grateful for the chance to start anew." Nain looks up at her mother, a small smile playing on her lips. "I'm grateful too, Mom, for the truth finally, and for the chance to get to know you, the real you, not the version Dad created in his lies." As the family gathers around Nain and Hope, there is a sense of a new chapter beginning. The past cannot be changed, but the future is full of possibilities. It won't be easy, but they are determined to face it together, bound by love, truth, and the tiny miracle that is baby Hope. The story of their family, far from over, is just entering a new and uncertain, yet hopeful phase.
If this story touched you, show your support by liking and subscribing. Your encouragement helps us keep sharing memorable stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.